There's Syndrones. Today I want to talk about the time I almost quit. Hi, I'm Pure Ambient Joan. This is my channel where I talk about synthesizers. Hit the subscribe button, tap the bell, and keep joining me here for my synth adventures. And if you want to dig deeper, go on over to patreon.com/ Pure Ambient Drone, where I include content that I don't have over on this channel. Well, these are my synth adventures, and I wouldn't be talking to you here today if I hadn't made the decision to keep moving forward. I've talked about this before, but I haven't really gone into a lot of detail. And that is my divorce that I had back in 2005. I had been with my wife for about 7 years. We hadn't been married that long, but we'd been together for 7 years. And I think we were coming up close to our third year anniversary. We never made it to that. Um, Somebody that she met at work took her away from me, and she helped them do it. I believe that two people get married and two people get divorced, so I don't want to blame her for everything. I certainly had my part in the divorce as well. But during that period of time, I had moved to a new place, a new city, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any family and in the area, and I didn't have any friends, and I didn't even know my way around the city. It was a much larger city than I had ever lived in before, especially by myself. With that being said, I pretty much was already starting over again when my wife and I moved up here. And I got to tell you, when she left, I never felt more alone. And I could have made the choice of going back and living with mommy and daddy, but I didn't do that. I'm not telling you it wasn't tempting. It was. But there was a part of me that, you know, I don't think I could have done that and got along with my parents in the stage of life I was in at that time. So I decided to stick it out. Now, there's two types of giving up. You can give up on life and you can give up on your dreams. And some people who decide to keep going on in life, they sacrifice their dreams in the process. And I was about to do that. Um, my wife's father had come along and had stolen, along with her, many of my belongings, things that she was never interested in, but she allowed her father to steal away from me one day when I was at work. And some of that included my studio gear. And another person who was supposed to have been one of my best friends, he had also stolen a synthesizer from me. It was a Korg Triton LE, and it was the very first synthesizer that I ever had. And what it was is because of the divorce, I was low on cash, and he said, "I'll lend you $100 with your synthesizer as collateral." And I knew this guy for years, and I couldn't understand why he didn't think I was good for $100 because I was. And he said, "Well, I really want to kind of use it to lay down some tracks with. So if you help me, I'll help you." So I went ahead with that deal because I thought it was just a mutual friendship thing. 2 weeks later, I had the $100, and he refused to give the keyboard back. And yeah, he lost a good friend. Um, I was willing to forgive him for that too, and just let him have the keyboard. But it's funny when people steal from you. They somehow put the blame on you. And even though I forgave him for stealing that keyboard, he still would not be my friend after that. And it's mind-boggling when you think about things like this, because I can be a very forgiving person. I've learned long ago that forgiving people helps the forgiver far more than it helps the forgiven, emotionally at least, because you release something. And if you gain a friend back in the process, I think friendship is more valuable than a keyboard. I still think that. But with that being said, I went through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I just want to share my story with you guys because this is a part of my synth adventure now. So I had about 3 synthesizers left, and I wasn't doing anything with them, so I put them in storage because I was moving around a lot. During this time, I lost my house through repossession, my car through repossession. My son was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Don't get it confused with MS. And my brother died, and one of my close friends had passed away. And then another very close friend died shortly after the first one. And I was going through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of self-examination. And I got to be honest with you, there was a point in time where I just wanted to not do music ever again. In fact, just thinking about music disturbed me. And that's sad, but that's where I was. And the years went by, and I got these synthesizers out of storage, and I donated them to my church. I didn't want anything for it. I didn't ask anything for it. And can you believe this? Those synthesizers were stolen from the church. So, for whatever reasons, the synthesizers that I owned were a magnet to thieves. It's just very strange that every synthesizer that I had owned was stolen. And that was very depressing to me too, because I was trying to do something that was useful with these synthesizers. And hey, more power to the thief. Maybe he's making hit records with them now. I don't know. With all that being said, though, throughout the years, I let my enthusiasm and my love for my dream to diminish, to fade away into nothingness, to basically give up. And I found myself depressed for another reason, because I didn't have a reason to get out of bed. I didn't have a reason to do anything that charged my soul. In other words, there was something very big missing. A part of me was gone. And so I had realized one day when I was watching Oblivion with Tom Cruise, the soundtrack was so beautiful, so gorgeous. I realized watching that movie that a flame inside of me was about to go out, but it was flickering again. When I heard that soundtrack in the movie, something came alive in me, and I decided to get back in to music. But you know what? I had wasted so much time. I had lost all my resources. I had no idea where to start again. I just knew that I had to get back into it. So I tried the plug-in route. I went and I got to be honest with you, I started out getting free plugins. And you know, that's a mistake when you start trying to go real cheap. And I'll tell you why. Because when you buy cheap, you get cheap. Now, I'm not saying that every free plugin out there is cheap and junk. That's not what I mean. I'm saying that the ones I got a hold of was junk. And I was judging my whole outlook on getting back into music based on what I had in front of me, thinking that, this isn't going to work. Well, I was basing that on what I had, not on what I could get. So I decided that I was going to invest in some hardware synthesizers, and I did so slowly. But I did it in a very unique way because I didn't want to spend any large amount of money. And I have this entrepreneur kind of personality. I've always been in some kind of a business ever since I was about 13 or 14 years old. I've always been in my own little businesses. I decided that I was going to find some synthesizers that really didn't appeal to me online or locally, and try to resell them at a value, at a higher value. And it worked out. I started doing that. And I was able to take extra cash and still buy used synthesizers I wasn't interested in and move them at a small profit to save up to get hardware synthesizers. And that's what I started doing, building them slowly. And then I started producing music and licensing some music. And then I also started working with people with projects and things. And I did this under various different names. I never used the same name twice on certain projects that I was doing online. I wanted to see what was working and what was working. I just tried everything. But the money was coming in here and there, and it was enough to where I could actually start making a living and start buying some more gear. My goal was never to be rich or famous, and maybe I'm shortchanging myself on that. I don't know, but I don't think that that's a goal that you should set, because if you set goals way too high and your expectations will follow, then you're not going to be able to go the distance, is what I believe. I think what we need to do is set little goals in life and try to reach that little goal. Um, you need to break down where you want to be and find out why you're not there. For me, it was lack of enthusiasm. It was lack of interest. It was a feeling of hopelessness. And I don't always share these feelings with people because, sometimes we feel like we're being judged when people when we tell people things and we open up to people. But these are my synth adventures, and I know that a lot of you guys struggle with the feeling of hopelessness and uselessness and discouragement and past hurts and scars, people that have hurt you. I will sum this video up by saying that I'm still pushing, I'm still going. You never arrive. So if that's what you're thinking, you're wrong. The superstars that are out there, just think of a big name music producer, musician who's made it. And I want to put quotes. If you were to really sit down with any of these guys, get to know them and get them to speak honestly to you, you would find out that deep down inside their soul, they haven't made it yet, that they feel that way, okay? Because they're always comparing themselves to somebody else, and they always feel that they could be a little bit better than what they are. And I think the biggest challenge is not defeating the people out there that are holding us back. I think the real person who holds us back the most is ourselves, and that's the person that we need to combat. That person that's in our head is usually us. People can say negative things to you and people can do negative things to you, but only you can decide to release those negative things up here. And it brings me to another point here really quickly. I knew some individuals that they couldn't let go of past hurts from anybody. And every time you got into a conversation with them, every single time, they brought up a past hurt of what somebody had done to them. And, Nike's got the shirt that says, just do it. I think I want to make a shirt that says, get over it. Because quite honestly, nobody cares. And that's the truth. And it's the hard truth. You may have one or two close friends that care some of the time, but nobody has anybody that cares all of the time. And that is the reality of life. Nobody cares. Get over it, move on, and do the best that you can do, and quit being so hard on yourself. And when I stopped being so hard on myself, that's when I started becoming more productive. I thought to myself, you know what, and this is so important for you guys to hear because it helped me, and I know it'll help you. Understand that your craft with synthesizers is your craft. It doesn't belong to your wife. It doesn't belong to your husband. It doesn't belong to your partner. It doesn't belong to your friends. It doesn't belong to your family's members. It belongs to you. So whatever you do with it, it's yours. It's yours. It belongs only to you. And anyone who criticizes it has really no right to do so, and no call and no insight, because only you know everything about what you're doing. And you already know all the mistakes you're making. You already know all of your shortcomings. You really don't need another person coming into your life telling you what's wrong. I don't. I already know a lot of things are wrong. And if I could fix them, I would. The main thing is that I had to come to grips with is, do I want to fix these things? And in some cases, I am just too lazy to fix things about myself. I just am. And I hate to admit that, but it's true. And sometimes I don't even know what's wrong with me. That's true too. Sometimes I don't care what's wrong with me because I'm a human being and I've got so many things in life that I got to handle. But this is my point that I'm trying to make. When somebody criticizes you, ask yourself this. Are these people paying your bills? Are they there in your darkest hour? If they're doing those things, maybe they do have some kind of input. And maybe you should take a listen to what they're saying, depending on what it is they're saying. But don't dwell on things. Don't beat yourself up so bad. Just do the best that you can do and ask yourself where you can do better. And then answer those questions about where you can do better. And then try to do it. And hey, trying is the first step to doing. Well, I hope this video helped you. And if it did, hit the subscribe button and give it a like. Tap the bell so you can be notified of all of my synth adventures. I love all of you guys, and I hope you guys understand that I really do love you guys. I may not know you, but you guys come here and you visit me and you leave some of the most wonderful comments encouraging me. Some of you guys even support me over at patreon.com. You're so awesome. Thank you guys. It's my joy to be here, and I hope you support me so I can continue doing so. Until next time, keep calm and synth on.